to the central muscle cars that come and joined us at Bathurst, and it's appropriate enough that Brad Jones joins me for this session here. Cars that you can relate to, and some cars I can relate to.
Absolutely, there's some fantastic, look at the Charger there, there's some absolutely great looking cars here, and reminds me of my childhood and early racing career actually.
It's starting to remind me of my childhood as well as we take a look at the grid. Dean Perkins pole position aboard the Ford Falcon. He did it by about 2/10 of a second ahead of John Midgley yesterday. Shane Wixton qualified on very old hand-cooked tyres yesterday to get to third. Bruce Anderson, who raced at Bathurst earlier this year, will start out of four. Back to Grant Dalton, Steve Ross and Tony Boyden, who'll start towards the second half of the grid here. Andrew Sinclair and Steve Scholes. John Mills and Bruce Kett back in 15th and 16th. Ian Easton returns to racing. He raced here as far back as the 70s when the track used to go left down here instead of right. Well, watch for him back there in car 111, and Lance Midgley starting out of position 20. Calvin Andrew, Paul Bowden, back to Sean Fowler and Janine Douglas of the 24 cars. Split up into two groups, similar, but not exactly like we see with our touring car masters back home. Bit of work going on down in your pits after that first qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. It's done a bit more damage than it looked initially. We thought we might get it out, but we've got a bit of work to do on the left front, damage the upright and a little bit on the rear. So unfortunate for Tim. I felt we were in a pretty good spot yesterday. I thought we'd have a couple of cars in the top 10, but we're struggling to be in the top 20. Bit of reverse there.
Yeah, the 429 just going one grid spot too far. That's the Honor Machine right-hand side for this race. I remarked just as you walked in a moment ago, the crowd here, very, very big, and they're very vocal, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very vocal, and it's always great to come over here. They certainly turn up for this event.
So waiting for the last few cars to slot into position right now. They see a mixture of cars pre-78 muscle cars. We see some cars from the mid-80s now, some replica Bathurst winning cars that the Chickadee car will see during the race as well. Split into two groups. You've got the Group 1 cars carrying the red windscreen banners. They can run composite panels, and you'll see a lot of NASCAR-style engines inside, which you're very familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure we're going to have a fantastic race here.
Good start from the two Falcons on the front row, but it will be John Midgley that gets the start. Pole position all day long has been very greasy. We saw it much so in the V8 Utes earlier today, but Midgley will lead us down and already a strong margin.
Man, he certainly shot off that start like a bullet out of a gun, hasn't he? He must have 5 or 6 car lengths on Perkins there.
So through the first sequence of turns, a very tricky part here, which we've seen cars in all our categories go off during the course of this ITM Auckland Super Sprint. Down the back straight for the first time, and down to, can I say it, treacherous turn 5. Just like that, right on cue.
Well,
that was Bruce Anderson that locked the rears heading down into turn 5, a new addition, or newish addition to the track. And there's more carnage going on in the background. That's the 33 of Steve Scholes, who's taken to the old part of the circuit.
Looks like he's got a serious problem. Beautiful looking car though, those Camaros, I love those. They look great, but he looks like he's got a terminal problem there.
Not good. The cars go off the circuit as we get the top 5. There is Wixton, the Century Batteries HQ Monaro, getting right up on top of that curve as they sweep through, and another car pulling off down here up just on the exit of turn number 6. It's hard to see, pick up the number where that is, but it's right behind. It's off the racing line. Should be okay as they come through for the end of the first lap. It's Midgley with nearly a full second over Dean Perkins. It's Honor in third, Wixton up to 4th, and Bruce Anderson in that Pine Pack Industries entry. And the feels that damage to the car behind 429 was Wixton. I think that's Anderson now, and that's the 49 machine that we saw stopped on the outside of the circuit, and that's Paul Clark.
Not 100% exactly where that is that?
5 and 6 there on the exit.
Right, yep.
And it's going to bring out the safety car.
We saw a bit of contact there.
So the safety car has been called, and there's the panel, one of those composite panels. That's one of the Group 1 cars. There is Wixton's. One of the cars further back that had a fair bit of damage, and it's that in there. We'll come back to that because it's all happening here under the Lexus safety car. They've had a busy month or two. A lot of these cars raced at Mount Panorama, and that was the 33 of Scholes. You've perfected that over the years.
Yeah.
On and off the track.
I've seen people do that in go-karts.
So
and here's where our action happened, it looks like.
Right, so this is where the damage would happen on the exit, and yeah, composite panels. I'm going to say you couldn't do that sort of damage if that was the old steel panels. Wow.
A card and a door, but it didn't look like he'd torn a corner off that car, so I'm a little surprised that it stopped him. Oh no, it didn't stop him. Here's our problem here, which has nothing to do with an accident. It's probably, you know, something's broken on the car or something's stopped.
That was the 49, and this is that spin from Scholes.
How lucky is he?
Well, seriously, lucky and unlucky.
Yeah, unlucky to spin, but lucky not did anything.
So many cars. It was Pukekohe on the run down to turn 5. This is more action happening. Look at turn number 1. Big place to have a moment like that, and that was Greg Honor.
And hasn't he done an amazing job to gather that up?
Wouldn't be easy, because they're big, heavy cars, aren't they?
Wow, and his little arms would be going like bees' wings in there trying to get that one under control.
The big fast back Mustang continues on, and now we go behind the back of the Lexus safety car.
And this is Anderson's car now. It's missing a door skin and a front mudguard, but it really looked like it was just a little bit of, you know, panel damage. Certainly not anything that's damaged the way the car handles. Certainly won't be great aero-wise, but I think these things have so much horsepower going down this back straight. I'd be surprised if that affects the way this car handles. It's got the brake duct still in it, so it should stop fine. So I doubt that that'll be much, but it'll be interesting to see when we see a side shot, because I'm not sure what they have on the other side of the composite panel. It'd be a little unusual to just be able to see the driver with the frame there, wouldn't it?
Keep him nice and cool, even though it's not that hot out there today on the track. That's the Lance Midgley entry. He's the cousin of our race leader right now, and that's not good.
He's got a pretty serious problem going on here. So that's engine oil by the looks of things, and
it's raining.
He's probably got a cooler in the front there, and it's damaged a line or something. You see that cooler there just behind the grill, and there's a bit more of the radiator cooler there that we can see. So clearly that's broken a line or done some damage, and I'd say that's saturated the circuit with oil, even though we can't really see an oily line on there. There's got to be some down from that, I should imagine. It depends how far he went. If he just came straight into the pits with that amount of oil, I should imagine he would. So there's clearly going to be some from the chicane and the back straight to the pit entry.
That started on the back straight, didn't it? We picked up the tail end of that heading down, so he's off the racetrack. He's continued behind the Lexus safety car right now. So John Midgley leads from Dean Perkins to the ex-police car with a NASCAR engine inside it. What a combination that is.
Yeah.
Go back to Wigston behind him in the Century Batteries HQ Monaro. Aided by a brand new set of Hankook tyres on that car. Everybody else qualified on new tyres yesterday. He saved that for the 3 races over the course of the weekend. Tomorrow, we split the grid up into handicaps, so the fastest qualifier will go to the back of the field. Bit old school stuff.
Yeah, that is old school. Used to love those races when I was a kid.
Still love them now.
Handicap races, there's nothing like it.
Just don't see enough of it, do we?
Absolutely.
2 big races for you guys coming up today, but they're short. We're back to the old school sprint races.
Well, and it's going to make it pretty tough, you know, certainly for our team. There's some passing opportunity to get the car right, but you know, I hear it's a lot about qualifying, and I really feel that you need to be in the top 4 or 5 to get a result here. So unfortunate, but we'll fight through and see where we go. I think the racing will be sensational.
Let's talk about Pukekohe Park. You've had a lot of experience over the years here, and everyone you speak to that's raced, whether it was 20 years ago or in the past couple of years, describe this track as real old school. It's cool, but it's fast.
Certainly he's very fast and bumpy, so even after they've done it up, you know, it gets your attention. So I wouldn't say it's the most technical place in the world, but it's a really cool place to race. Safety cars away from the field.
So the 2 Ford Falcons will lead us. The HQ Monaro will be 3rd. Then it'll be Honor. Then it'll be Bruce Anderson with the modified entry back there, the Pine Pack Industries entry. He's had loads of experience in endurance racing here. He raced at Bathurst as well.
And these two have pulled away a little bit from Wigston, which surprises me a little bit. I would think you'd want to be right under the rear bumper bar. And maybe he's going to try and jump at him a little bit off the start. I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
So away goes Midgley back at the restart now on lap number 5. Wigston has gone with him here, but he did let him go for a couple of car lengths. They sweep through the first turn. There's an awesome Chevy Camaro going through turn number 1. There's a whole group of them in this field. The first 3 just starting to disappear here.
It's a funny line Honor takes through there. A couple of times he's been a bit wide and gathered the thing up, but this has worked out pretty well for Perkins. He rages up on the outside. Look at those cars move around under brakes. So the tyres are probably not up to pressure. Everything's a little bit cool. they're trying to maximise the amount the car's gripping on the road, and that's what we see there. They're just, you know, trying to get everything up to temperature.
Describe what that feels like when the cars have lost tyre pressure and what they're like to drive on the first lap.
They feel terrible.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Well, you're just working the tyres as hard as you can to try and generate the grip, but you know, Midgley's got a nice handling car here. He can just get a little bit of a gap on Perkins, but Perkins got the mumbo. You see he's, you know, car length in here going onto the straight, and he's still got enough grunt that he's going to almost pull out and pass.
Through they come, and now look at Wixton.
Yeah, he's right in amongst this now, isn't he?
He fancied to look on the outside then, but thought better of it. He's right in the box seat here as we're almost halfway home in race 1 of the NZ Central Muscle Cars here. The Pukekohe Parkers. Perkins just slides his way out of turn 4.
I feel that Perkins really needs to keep it pretty smooth. If he could just get onto the rear bumper, he's got plenty of horsepower, but look at that thing move around. You know, part of that is it looks like he's got a bit too much rear brake on that car, and it's locking the rears a little bit, which makes it walk around like that. So he'd have an adjuster in the car somewhere, so he'd be trying to get maximum brake pedal pressure. But I just feel like he's right on the cusp with the rear brakes here.
Perkins pushing now on lap 6. They've disappeared away now from Honour. It's about 3 seconds from 3rd back to 4th. They sweep through a really exciting part of the course here.
Very, very tough part of this course, and Perkins really keeps that car well inside the white lines, which is unusual. You're there, you're usually letting the car of its head flowing to the edge of the circuit, but he's trying to get onto the power and run down the inside of Midgley, but it's really knocking him around. I think it'd be better just to follow his line and then try and get him under brakes down at the end into turn 1.
So still
much better run onto the back straight that time, sorry. So this is going to be a bit of an opportunity for him here. When this thing starts to gather its legs up about halfway down the straight, look him raging up on the outside here.
Going to make him work for it. He's trying to pull the car up. Will he be able to do it? I don't think he can, and he won't. You can just feel that coming, and now he's going to slide his way, keep it under control, and does it, but I've got a feeling he's going to have to drop back a bit here.
Well, I think he's going to have to drop back into 2nd is what he's going to have to do. So let's see what he does here.
Saw one of the cars, I'm not sure if that was Honour or Anderson that was pulling off in the background that shot either.
He's not really lifting, Perkins.
So it was a wild slide, but
I can't believe this.
Should be busy times next door at race control as he comes on by. He's made a big advantage up here across the grass, so we'll keep an eye on it. Meantime, Wixton is now lining up for a pass on John Midgley on the run down. The 25-year-old from West Auckland here, one of the Ken Hopper constructed cars. He's a legendary car builder from New Zealand.
If I was Midgley, I'd be pretty agitated by now. That's not good. I can't believe that he's done that. But the hard part is you see him in front and you're trying to work out, you know, what is going on, and then you're still trying to fight Wixton off. So he'd be trying to compose himself a little bit now, get back to that lead car of Perkins, and doesn't look like there's too much action going on there.
Seemed pretty relaxed, didn't it, next door? Meantime, it continues on, but you've got to keep a cool head, don't you? You know you're frustrated at the fact the car in front has made an illegal move here. This is what happened. Well, it was already out of control before he got to the corner. It was cool.
Yep, and he pitched the thing down on the inside, but there's no way he's going to stop.
But there's this part here, and you know what it's like? You get onto the grass, it's still wet out there, wipes all the temperature out the tyres.
Yeah, no grip.
So he continues on. We don't make the calls, we just call the action here at the NZ Central Muscle Cars, lap 9 of 13.
Yeah, he's done an 8.6, and Midgley just did an 8.2 chasing him down, so he's not going as quick as he possibly can. But this is a great dice between these two. Midgley's just done his fastest lap trying to run Perkins down, but unfortunately he's going to lose a spot here.
And now Wixton will make the pass stick down here at turn number 5. So the man from Auckland gets the Century Batteries HQ down the inside and moves up to 2nd place now. Suddenly it goes a little bit overcast outside. So unpredictable here, the weather. So we might have got a bit of rain during that last qualifying session. It's very Phillip Island-esque outside today.
It certainly is. It hasn't dampened up the enthusiasm of the fans, though. We've still got plenty of people here, but The weather is very unpredictable here at Pukekohe.
So it was Honour that did go off the track, because that's now Anderson with the modified Pine Pack Industries entry up into 4th position now. Comes one of the Tyrannus back in 8th position. It's Clark Hopkins. Tough little two-door Alex Tyrannus sweeping around the backside of the circuit here. They still look cool even after the better part of 40 years.
Absolutely. They're in a pretty little car.
Cars further back in the field here. That's Scholes. This is back towards 18th, 19th and 20th on the track. Calvin Andrew back there in the 888 BC Holden. Car that I learned to drive in all those years ago. I'm starting to show my age now. But it's a good class. Modelled similar of what we see in Australia. And wasn't it great to see them at Mount Panorama this year? We had an old school grid of over 50 cars, and they all drove very, very well over there.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
On board now is Steve Neuer, the 67 Ford Mustang.
And you see the change light up on the dash. That just lets him know when he's getting right to the end of his rev range and when he needs to grab another gear with his car. Or lift.
Long braking point, long gear changes. Just taking it nice and easy back there. He's back in 13th position. That's Bruce Kent ahead in the 41 machine as they come up to the slowest point on the track, which years ago was the fastest approach on the track. Do you like the way they've modified the course?
Well, I think you used to come roaring up to that hairpin and hang on pretty tight as you jumped in there. I think it opens up more passing opportunity. Wow, look at that slow-mo. That's fantastic. Look at the inside of the rear tyre on the left side of that car jumping across the curb. You know, the funny thing is when you're sitting in one of these cars and you're driving it and you feel what the car is doing, and then you come out and you look at what it's doing in a camera shot like that, it doesn't feel like that. When it's bouncing, it feels like it's bouncing, and when you're sliding, it doesn't feel like you get the tire distortion in it. Some of these in-car shots are fantastic.
Closing stages of race number 1 of the NZ Central Muscle Cars. Grant Dalton aboard the number 35 Chevy Camaro. He's so ginger with the throttle application. You can see his very fancy footwork happening down.
And he's working this thing pretty hard at the moment. He's in a battle for 5th place. This, you know, this is quite a gingerly part of the circuit. The car is wanting to go one way and you want to turn it the other. It's not for the faint-hearted, but when you get it right, it feels fantastic.
It's a long pedal going into turn number 1. Just trail breaks it through, mashes the pedal for a split second, feeds the power back on.
I'm surprised he doesn't pump the brakes up, to tell you the truth.
Back to the leaders, and now Winston is closing in. Perkins still hasn't given that lead up as the daily freight train cruises on by. In the background of the shot, it's Perkins up that, well, slight revision of the turn at turn number 5. Has Winston got enough time, or will they discuss this one off the track?
Well, they didn't look too bothered about it when we saw them in race control, so maybe that's okay. I'd be very surprised, though.
Winston on the charge, only 0.8 of a second.
Good-looking car, this Falcon.
It looks settled on the road, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Still laying plenty of Hankook rubber down on the exit.
Yeah. Has a very different line coming out of that last corner to everyone else in the field, really. Really pinches it in tight, but he's done a lot of laps around here, so, and he's leading the race, so no doubt he knows what he's doing.
Not too far for him to travel. She could go to work yesterday, runs the local tyre shop here in Pukekohe and runs the second one in all places, Vanuatu. Good way to run a tyre shop. You could
quite a
the beach for the weekend. Yeah, it would be. If you're doing it daily, absolutely. 850 brake horsepower from this Roush Yates NASCAR engine as he just pulls it up down there at turn 5. And Wigston is going to run out of time here because we're on the final lap. They've left John Midgley back to 3rd spot. It's still Anderson, Honour and Dalton, the top 6. Lap traffic is going to be safe here as they come through the final turn. So the challenge was on. Perkins, they'll debate about this later on, but the 75 machine, the ex-police car, being pursued, and now as he slides and it's not over, and now Wigston pulls out and he's going to pickpocket him at the line.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that? He'd done it too many times, hadn't he? Each lap he'd gone through laying down the rubber, and there's the black flag being shown as well, perhaps to Perkins anyway.
Well, that's pretty disappointing for Perkins. I mean, except for where he shortcut the circuit, he had a pretty good race, and but he's pinched that car, and I couldn't help but feel he was trying to slide that car around there, pinch it a bit tight, get the back out. Happened pretty early. He's on the throttle, and
surely that was a victory salute.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But he certainly ran pretty tight around there most laps, and he's had to get out of the throttle with the back out, and it's been a bit too much, and there goes Wigston. He couldn't believe his luck, I'd say.
And got it by 0.4 of a second. Right at the finish line. You don't need to lead many laps as long as you lead the last 100 metres, they say in the classics. But Wigston, half a second. John Midgley will finish in third behind Perkins, and Bruce Anderson, Greg Honor, Grant Dalton, and to Clark Hopkins in eighth. Over the page to Tony Boyd and Brendan Mason back in 14th. Ian Easton from outside the top 20. Calvin Andrew also, and Sean Fowler going a lap down in race number 1 of the NZ Central.